Salutations, everyone. I'm Bitoshi, and I'm sorry I haven't posted a video for a long time. I've been busy. I haven't been feeling well a lot lately. Things have been very, very bad, but there's some good, some bad. I'm sorry for also that the podcast has been gone for a while. But I'm back for hopefully for good and hopefully posting more gameplay and hopefully the episode 2 of the Lane series will be coming soon. Hopefully probably in March or in April. I just gotta get myself back up and hopefully be in the right mood and mindset to edit again. This is going to be a compilation of reviews I did for the show Book of Boba Fett that I wanted to post every week, but I never had the energy or strength to do it. So you're going to be hearing me throughout like probably 3 months. Like, because I did this in December, I did this in January, I did this in February as well. I recorded these. So you're just gonna hear me talk about the show constantly, and probably do my intro constantly if you're up for that. If I edit this, and hopefully you enjoy this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao, darlings, and enjoy. I God, that is a pretty awesome theme song. I actually love that. Salutations, everyone. I'm Koshi, and it's finally here. More Star Wars. Ah. This is. I forgot. When did Mandalorian season 2 came out? Was that last year or was that this year? I don't know. Oh my god. Just wow. I loved this so much. It's been so long. I missed a few Star Wars things I wanted. I haven't finished Visions yet, but I will. I will. Don't worry. I have a video already being made of it. I will get to it as I try. Um this is a good start to a first episode of Book of Boba, or now it's titled Book of Boba Fett. I guess Disney was like thinking, it doesn't seem right. I think we'll just call the Book of Boba Fett, not Book of Boba. Even though Book of Boba sounds pretty rad. It feels like a religious or like a cool like a cool like warrior's tale kind of like story, you know? Like I feel like it would be better to just call it Book of Boba. Especially with that warrior chant theme song that Boba Fett gets in this episode. It just feels so awesome. Especially like I feel like I'm getting like vibes of Conan the Barbarian, honestly, from seeing this, because there was like a final like storyboard art where it's him on like his throne, and I was like, oh my god, that looks like a Conan the Barbarian image right there. If you've seen the movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where Schwarzenegger is like Conan, and he's sitting on his throne contemplating life, which seems like the similar kind of things that this show looks like it's going for. Seeing him ruling Tatooine as a crime lord, trying to take over the Hutts, because I guess all the Hutts are dead. That's what I'm assuming. All the Hutts are dead. I mean, I know that Zero's dead. I know that Jabba's dead. I'm just wondering, what about the other Hutts? Did they get killed? Are they dead? Maybe it's explained in Bad Batch. Maybe it's explained on Star Wars Rebels. I don't know because I haven't seen either Rebels or Bad Batch. Um, but seeing Boba Fett's story continue is so interesting to me that because I was like thinking that this first episode has got to explain how he survived. How did he live through the Sarlacc pit? And you see him like trapped there, and I think this is the first time I've seen the inside of what the Sarlacc pit looks like. I mean, I'm not counting Robot Chicken with the Star Wars special where you see him being slowly digested and it has a lot of space for a stomach that is slowly digesting you. It's weird. But seeing what the stomach actually looks like on the Sarlacc pit is like so claustrophobic. You seeing all the steam come out, all of like the wet like stuff, acids trying to digest you slowly and die painfully, and you see this one stormtrooper already killed, and Boba Fett, you can tell he's not going down without a fight, and he's like, and it's clearly shown that this is like he got out like sometime like hours later after, you know, Luke, Han, Leia, and everyone else escaped Jabba's iron hand, basically, and he gets out of there alive because he burns the shit out of the Sarlacc pit, and he crawls out of the sand, and I was like, wow, this dude just survived. And you can see him like trying to breathe, trying to like get out unscathed, and you see him pass out in the sand, and the freaking Jawas come in like, oh look, he's not using this armor anymore. Let's steal this shit, and they just rip his armor apart. I was like, oh shit, really? They're just gonna fucking jack his armor like that? And the Jawas saw him like wake up, and he tried to grab them and stop them, but when the Jawas are like, "No, you stay dead." I love that to see like, okay, now that explains how he lost the armor, and it went to what's his name, Timothy Oliphant's character in Mandalorian, and you can already tell the armor is like too small for him. I really did like the beginning of this, showing like how he survived the Sarlacc pit, and I guess how he learned to use those martial arts techniques with the stick, and I guess it shows you how he learned that, and apparently it's because the Tusken Raiders use this kind of method of fighting as well, and he gets captured by the sand people, basically, and it shows in the flashbacks that he's been tortured by them, and you actually see little Tusken Raider like kids in the episode, which I didn't expect to see in Book of Boba Fett. Just little kid Tusken Raiders. I was like, huh, and they just sound the same as any Tusken Raider, just having the like that. That's all you hear from. That's the only dialogue they speak. It's just screams. And just seeing these little kids gang up on Boba Fett while he's like weak and tied to a pole in prison, they just beat the shit out of him with sticks. You see like these different like Tusken Raiders, like this clan, and which was pretty interesting to see the Tusken Raiders in different kind of like outfits, which I really found fascinating because I've only seen the Raiders
look like the same. Like they always look like the same costume, the same look. You can never tell the difference between which was a woman or a man. Uh, but when you finally see them in their like little like clan, their little like village, you get to see like, oh, who is the leader of this pact of the sand people, and you can tell which one are the women, you can tell which one are the kids. I just like the different types of outfits they get in this episode, which I'm like, oh, cool, some variety. Finally, because I'm used to like the basic costumes they had in like the movies and in Mandalorian, but now seeing them in different types of outfits, it's kind of refreshing. And I believe what we were picked off where we left off in the final scene in Mandalorian season 2, where Boba Fett takes over as being the crime boss, and he's trying to. And Fennec is not all too happy with it, kind of, because she's like, "You should rule with fear. You should rule by killing and showing an example of strength." While Boba's trying to show an example of respect and loyalty. Like he doesn't want to be very barbaric. He doesn't want to be like what Jabba was. He wants to be something better, which I found pretty cool. And Fennec doesn't understand it, but she doesn't question it that much. Hopefully she doesn't betray him, but she probably will. Who knows? Uh, but seeing Boba Fett try to be more of a respectful crime boss in the underground crime world, uh, you see that people think like, oh, he's weak. We can easily jump him. We can easily take him down, which is technically true. They did. They A bunch of random dudes come surprise ambush attack on him and then gang him up with these electric shields that could kill them. And you would think like, oh, those people, those guards, those guards that Jabba had in Return of the Jedi, oh, they're not going to be loyal to Boba Fett. They only said that so they would live and their lives would be spared. But you see that the guards are very loyal and they actually um, help Boba Fett and Fennec take a lot of them down. I mean, not dead, but knock them down unconscious, try to attack them. But they gang up on Boba Fett and electrocute the shit out of him that he starts to get injured and needs to get to a Bacta tank. Uh, and, and then, but not after when Boba just blows the shit up of another guy, just like trying to escape, and he's like, "Nope, fucking missile on your ass," and then blows him up. And then Fennec goes and chases the other two, and Boba's like alive, which is smart of him to say because he needs one of them alive, and to wonder who hired to kill him, which I found pretty like, okay, that's smart, and you already know how to tell Fennec that because you know she's probably gonna kill them. Which she kills only one of them, but and then we get to see Boba Fett be a real badass because I keep seeing him getting his ass kicked in this episode, which makes him a bit weak looking in this episode. But honestly, the way he shows authority and the way he is to be feared in some way, with the way he says things, the way there's these long silences after finding out the mayor of Mos Espa did not give him an offering, and then Boba Fett returns hearing that the mayor wants an offering as well, and then Boba's like, yeah, I'm offering you to have your life and I won't take it. So be grateful I didn't kill you. which is which is pretty cool. I love that. I have no idea where this show's gonna go. It's probably gonna be 50% flashbacks and 50% present day in Boba Fett. So that's what I'm assuming. We're gonna see more origins of him on how he survived, how he got better as a fighter and as a person, and with his character development, which I'm actually looking forward to. I really do like that. And Tamara Morrison, man, as much as yeah, people prefer the original actor from the non-tainted non-special edition original movies, the other guy who sadly passed away, I I'm sorry. I grew up with Tamara Morrison as Django and heard him as Boba Fett when I watched the original trilogy on Fox cable TV, and I like Tamara Morrison. I think I like that voice. To me is iconic, and it's more recognizable than the one that people are used to, which I never heard before, and I still don't think I've heard of it. I think people already know, but if you want to know what he actually sounds like fully, and not like what little lines he had in Empire Strikes Back, uh, keep in mind, Boba Fett's first appearance in Star Wars was the holiday special. That's not a joke. You would think, oh, his cool appearance is in The Empire Strikes Back. Nope. His first appearance was in the Star Wars Holiday Special in this animated cartoon segment. And that's where you can hear the original voice, which I'm actually shocked to hear. That's where Boba Fett got his start. Was in a holiday special that no one wants to see and no one dares talk about, for at least George Lucas' sake. He doesn't want to talk about it. But yeah, I loved, but so far this first episode of Book of Boba, it's starting off slow, just like with Mandalorian started off slow as well, and things don't actually pick up until like probably the third or fourth episode. Uh, so let's hope that the things get running along quite quickly, or at least take its time. It doesn't matter. It's however what pace this show goes. All I'm saying is I am looking forward to it, especially seeing Boba Fett straight up choke out this giant monster, which I don't know if part of it was a puppet and part of it was CGI. It kind of looked seamless to me, but I'm like thinking, no, that's CGI. But some places it felt like it was in close-up shots. I feel like it kind of moved like a puppet. I don't know. I could be wrong, and I probably am just not seeing clearly. Who knows? But seeing Boba Fett kill this creature, and you hear that music like ah, playing, like all the people chanting in the background, and then seeing that badass walk after he killed this giant monster after saving this little sand people little kid. He just saved that kid by killing that thing. Then they decapitated his head to show the proof and evidence to the sand people, like, hey, look what he did. Look, he saved my life. And I guess the chief of that clan is like, you're fine. You can drink water now. It's a show of trust. uh, I really did like that. Somehow I feel I was kind of reminded when I heard the music. I was like, I was kind of thinking of the movie Dune, the new one that came out this year. Uh, I really did love that because it did sound like the music from Dune, and I honestly did like the music from Dune. Not gonna lie. It kind of sounded like it. There. And it's in these theme songs, I guess, like not like the main score because the main score is done by someone else, but the theme songs in the in this episode, they're done by Ludwig, who did the theme song for Boba Fett in his first appearance in the Mandalorian, and I gotta say it's a powerful theme. I don't know if Boba Fett actually had an official theme song in Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. Did he really? Did he or did he not? I don't know. I don't think he had an official theme song. But hearing his theme song, it's pretty awesome. Though I am disappointed, like present day Boba Fett seems like he's very weak, which I'm concerned to wonder why is he acting all weak all of a sudden, kind of. I mean, yeah, he got ganged up, but I don't know. It's not a good way to start off your character who was being pretty badass in the past, burning the shit out of the Sarlacc pit, choking out a giant monster in the past, and then present day Boba Fett is like, oh, a couple of guys ganged up on me and electrocute me. It's overwhelming. I can take down a Sarlacc pit, but in a freaking giant alien monster that was underneath the sand, but I can't take down 4 guys with shields. I don't know. It just seems very weird, isn't it? Like, monsters, no problem. Sarlacc pit, burn that bitch. Like, freaking Jawas that knocked the shit out of me unconscious, and fucking 5 dudes in masks that ganged up on me and electrocuted me. Oh, no, that's crossing the line. I know that's messed up because, again, he was weak and tired when the Jawas took his armor, so that's the excuse. And understandably, when the guys like ambushed him, he wasn't prepared for that after doing negotiations with people and also receiving money at the end of it. So yeah, I can understand that in those situations, yeah, he wasn't prepared, basically. So, yeah. Anyway, I liked this episode. Pretty good. I liked it. Pretty amazing start. I just wish we got more episodes and hopefully not doing the whole just one episode a week kind of thing, which I get annoyed about real quickly because it's because you gotta wait for the next episode. And Mandalorian had those moments too where you're like, oh, I like this episode, and then you're satisfied and you can't wait for the next episode, but then the next episode you're kind of disappointed with it and you're like thinking, man, I want a better episode. Because remember, there was that one episode where he had to help this mother get to her husband, and she has these eggs of their children that freaking Grogu kept, like, eating secretly, which was so fucked up. In that episode, I didn't like it. Because if I'm being honest, Mando kind of felt like a dumbass. Because I feel like the mother was trying to tell him important shit, and he was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm gonna try and get you out of this and help you, while also trying to stop Grogu from eating this woman's children. Fucking killed children. He fucking killed kids. Especially Grogu comes in and there are these spider eggs, like that ice spider creature. And he's like looking at that creature and he's like, oh hey, look, eggs. I'll eat these too. I didn't like the episode. I thought it was a pretty blah episode where Mando seemed like kind of a dick. In my opinion, he was. And that CGI ice spider, again, I do have arachnophobia, but I don't know. It seemed pretty lame because like it's a CGI giant creature that they have to like run away from, and that's it. And Mando would have been screwed if the freaking rebellion didn't come in and say, "We're gonna help you." It just felt wrong. I don't know. It was pretty bad of an episode where I was like, I don't like this. And when that episode ended, I was like, well, that was an episode that felt like unworthy of waiting a week for. And then the next episode came out, and that one was better because we got Lady Bo-Katan in that episode. So that was good. Uh, but yeah, whatever Book of Boba throws at us, who knows? Mandalorian was kind of like, oh, they're gonna show characters from different shows, or they're gonna show different characters from movies or such. Like, I like that with Mandalorian because they were factored into the plot pretty well in the show. Like you would think that they would be like, "Oh, get it? It's a reference. Get it? Here's a cameo that's distracting you from the actual character." No, they did it nice. They fit them into the story and fit them into as another type of people to help them with a task to help him on his journey, which was great. But here in Book of Boba, I don't know if I'm gonna be fine with seeing cameos. Maybe in the flashbacks, but in present day Boba Fett, I kind of want him. I kind of want him to own this show, honestly. Like, be it about him. Like, I want him to be the main focus and such. Like, I want him to be like, I want him to own the show, like make it his own, basically. Like I kind of wanted to focus on Boba's like past of what happened to him after Return of the Jedi, and focus on him now as a person after again Return of the Jedi, but somewhere between the period that's between Jedi and Force Awakens. So yeah, I can't wait to see more in the future. Or hell, next week. I give this episode a 7 out of 10 because, you know, not much happens in it, but it did leave a good impression for a first episode. Usually the first episodes are the worst and you can't judge a show by the first episode, but this I actually pretty enjoyed. Well, these episodes have done a lot better, but also made the concerning thing that a friend pointed out to me is like, why did Boba Fett not use his jetpack to escape these knights of the wind of the night wind, basically assassins of the night wind, I think they were called. And I was like thinking maybe it's broken, maybe he hasn't had it fixed yet, and then we see him use it in the third episode, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? You could have used that to escape. So a friend pointed that out to me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? That is a major fucking flaw in this show right now. Is that why didn't Boba Fett fly away? I mean, you can argue the fact that maybe the shields were empowering him and he couldn't do nothing about it and such, maybe, but I don't know. He could have flown out. I think there was open space he could have escaped and helped Fennec get out of that. So episode 2 and 3 of Book of Boba Fett. It is... Oh, this is so good. This is so amazing how this show is now uh, getting better each episode. And I loved the second episode. The second episode is all about Boba wondering wondering how many people are like after him because he took the role of Daimo. And he is wondering who it is, and he suspects either the mayor or that woman that runs that club, the Twi'lek woman. And not, but as soon as he finds out, it's also the Huts, the which is really shocking to me because I was like, huh, so the Huts are still alive? I mean, I don't know. Like, I only know that Zero got killed. Jabba's dead. I'm not sure how many uh, of the Huts in their crime family are still alive. Because I know a lot of the Huts I've seen in the Clone Wars series. I don't think I ever seen the twins before. I'm not sure. But if they were in an episode of Clone Wars, let me know because I don't remember if I seen the twins or not. Who knows? But it is. But seeing the Huts like being carried by these weak guys that are just like holding them with their on top of like your movable like kind of like throne, kind of like they're like carrying something for a parade, it looks like. But seeing those guys like carrying these two Huts, these fat as Huts, where they're just like struggling to carry them, they're like, God, this is heavy. I'm like surprised their shoulders haven't like shattered or their backs having gave out after carrying those guys. Like, Jesus. Not only that, knowing that they have to walk like probably so many miles just to get to one location to another, it's like amazing that these dudes have the strength to carry two Huts. And they don't look like the strongest men. They look like slaves that are like, fuck, I can't take this. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Like they're struggling. But shout out to those actors. They really did convince me that they were carrying two Huts and they're struggling to keep them above them with that powerful leg strength, I guess. Uh, and um, but that's all. But it's pretty much like what happens with Boba Fett during this present day of him trying to figure out how he's gonna take control of the entire of Mos Espa and try to claim land so people can respect him as a leader, as the new Daima, which a lot of people don't because he had like how many assassin attempts right now? I think he had two assassin attempts. One from the Assassins of the Night Wind and the Wookiee, which his name escapes me for a moment. I'm like, oh God. God. And that Wookiee that works for the Huts, like man, that Wookiee looks like a badass. I'm not kidding. He looks fucking cool. He does remind me of one of the Wookiees I've seen in battle in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. He kind of looked like it, but man, he looks more menacing. Like he could fuck you up. And then we see it in the third episode where he just rips Boba out of his Bangta tank and he's like, get over here, bitch. And he throws him on the ground. Like it was a brutal fight. And he was like, I gotta kick this dude's ass. And he is like not winning at all. Like he got a few stabs in, a few hits in, but that Wookiee fucking like took him down like immediately. Like he just threw him around, just flipped him around like a bacon egg sandwich on the pan. And he and Boba Fett hires like these like this biker gang basically of people who upgrade themselves to have like robot parts to become basically half human, half droid. After learning that they stole water from the guy from Office Space, and, and he goes and he goes and sees them like you stole the water, like Like, yeah, but we can't get water because there's no work. Because I guess Mos Espa doesn't have any available work for these people to get water. And you find out that water prices in Mos Espa are fucking expensive. And Boba Fett's like, this gang's got guts. As he saw this punk rocker looking girl. She looked like the girl from the Friday the 13th video game that you can play. Kind of looks like her. And she's like standing up for her crew and what happened. And then Boba Fett's like, "You got guts. You want to work for me?" And he's like, I was like, "Hell yes, that's awesome." Because you see, Boba Fett is true to his word. Like, he's not trying to like rule this place with fear, and you can see that in this show a lot, where you see him going by what he said. He's not ruling by fear. He could have easily threatened these kids to give back the water or pay for the water after what happened. But knowing like the struggle in the streets of Mos Espa is hard, and there's not a lot of work to go around for people to help them pay money for food and water, and you could see them. The only way they could do it was to steal. And Boba Fett's like, you know what? Hearing from them, I'm gonna, because she's like, look around. There is no work, and you can tell there's no work because you see like a bunch of like people living in the streets, comforting for warmth in the cold night, and it's like Boba Fett looks at it like, yeah, that is a struggle. I am sorry, and he's like, you know what? You can work for me, and you can live in the palace, and which was a good deal. However, Stephen Root, the guy from Office Space, comes in out of nowhere because I guess he was eavesdropping on them, thinking like, "You fucker, you're not gonna kill them or stop them. They owe me money for water." And when he tells Boba Fett the ridiculous price for water, he's like, "Really? 13,000?" And he just gives him 500, and he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna take it or not." Ah, and also lower your prices because Boba Fett knew that he is basically a speaker of the people, basically, because he sees how rough it is. Like, he sees how terrible it is for people that haven't uh, was born with a silver spoon in their mouth or anything. And he does show that respect, that he is human, at least, to care. While like people like Bib Fortuna or Jabba the Hutt, they ruled with fear and hatred to around people and will kill anyone that doesn't abide by their rules. While Boba is trying to speak for everyone in Mos Espa and try to rule it with respect, because that's the way he wants to learn. Fennec, throughout the course of these 3 episodes, she is like thinking, no, we should try to rule like how Jabba did. We have to respect their customs. And Boba's not having it because he's like, no, I'm going to do things my way, and I'm going to do it how I should rule. Because I'm not going to be like those people. I'm going to show them there's more to ruling with fear. And he's showing it pretty good. I love that in this series. That so far he is doing well, even showing a lot of respect. Even the bikers are like impressed by him and wanted to help him out, especially with trying to stop that Wookiee. But they got a few hits in. They're electrocuting him. They shanked him in the back, but it just doesn't work. The fucking Wookiee is a beast, and he just like knocks them down. He's basically like the Russian from Punisher, where he is that there's no way you can take him down. He's like fucking like a giant. He's like, no way you're gonna go and take me down. I am a fucking god. Like, he was Hercules, but with fur. Eventually, Fennec does help by trapping him down the Rancor pit and then has him locked up there. And as a sign of respect, because like, or an apology from the Hutts, because they're like, you know what, it's not worth it, it's gonna spark war. We're not gonna be above that shit, we're done. We tried to kill you, it didn't work, and now we're gonna go and leave Tatooine, because you know what, it's not worth it. Even though Boba Fett thinks that's a lie, and he's like, nah, 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 nah. They are waiting for us to kill each other until that area is free for the taking, which is probably true. But the Hutts did gifted Boba a new Rancor that there is like good, interesting facts about a Rancor that I didn't know about. And of course, the keeper of that Rancor, since this is basically Robert Rodriguez's show at this point. Danny Trejo is there. Danny Trejo is just there as the kind of like, I guess, the Rancor Wrangler, or like he's just like the caretaker basically. Seeing Danny Trejo there, he didn't need to say anything. He had no lines at first, but seeing him just sitting there, standing around next to a Rancor is pretty awesome. Just seeing Machete just like stand there like, yeah, I'm next to a Rancor, I'm pretty badass. I was like, that man is awesome. I was expecting that. I was really expecting Danny Trejo to just come out of nowhere. And in fact, I was expecting a lot of actors from Robert Rodriguez's movies to be making cameos or appearances in this show. Since so far we've seen like 2 episodes directed by him, so I'm very curious to wonder if we're gonna see, like, I don't know, maybe Cheech Marion or like Salma Hayek, maybe Antonio Banderas, which would be pretty freaking cool if he does appear in one of these episodes. Like, it would be cool to see like the usual actors that Robert Rodriguez gets in his movies. I'd be shocked if he'd get Bruce Willis. Like, Bruce, you want to do Star Wars? He's just there. Probably the biggest paycheck you'll get from all the shit movies he's done recently. Who knows? It is pretty freaking awesome seeing Danny Trejo in Star Wars and looking cool next to a Rancor and talking about the lore about a Rancor, that they are not like horrible creatures. They're basically friendly to, if you get to know them, because you know they're basically trained to be killers, to be hunters. And Boba Fett learns this about the Rancor will imprint the first person that it sees. That's why they have these blinders on this Rancor. And Boba Fett takes care of the Rancor, pets him, everything, all that jazz, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And he finds out that the witches in Dathomir rode Rancors, which I think they showed in Clone Wars that they rode Rancors, but I can't remember if they did or not, because I remember they rode something in Dathomir, and I was like, yeah, I believe that the witches do that, because I think they've done that when they were like scouting for men in Dathomir to be their like next vessel or vassal, to be like their slave, kind of, to command them, uh, which is pretty interesting. And it is it is insane to hear that. Like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. It's gonna be like riding the sandworms in Dune. But it seemed like hearing Boba Fett saying like, I want to learn to ride the Rancor. I was like, hell yes, I want to see that, because that sounds pretty damn cool. I want to see how Boba Fett's gonna ride a Rancor, and he's probably gonna go through the same training montage he did again with the Tusken Raiders, which the Tusken Raiders part in these episodes so far are the best things. I mean, yeah, there's the main plot of the film of the show, which the main plot wasn't that interesting, but it is more interesting to see Boba Fett take control in his own ways, his own means, and not give in to what previous Daimos did. And it is interesting to see the character development between that with Boba Fett in the present and in the flashbacks. Because it is pretty cool. It's just the main plot hasn't sparked that much interest yet, but it's still cool regardless. Um, but the Tusken Raiders flashbacks when he's like training to learn their ways of their martial arts that he has to learn from them. Which, if I remember correctly, Tamara Morrison brought that type of fighting style to Mandalorian. And he wanted to show it to a lot of people in this show, which is pretty cool. I like this fighting style that he's doing, and of course, give it to the Tusken Raiders that they know this art. Uh, seeing them just seeing him go over the motions, trying to learn what they know, and you start to see that the Tusken Raiders aren't that bad of people. They're not savages, technically. Well, they are, but you can tell they're kind of civilized as well, and they're just normal people. Makes you say, fuck Anakin Skywalker for killing all the men, women, and children. Uh, in Attack of the Clones, because you're like, wow, fuck Anakin Skywalker. But then again, they tortured his mother and had her die in front of his eyes. So, I mean, you can't blame him for that. But Jesus, yes, I guess the mother wasn't that strong enough to learn the ways of the Tusken Raiders of the Sand People. Oh, but seeing Boba Fett learn the ways of what they do, but also teaching them how to ride speeders, teaching them how to work alongside each other and help them, and try to give them peace in their land. So a lot of like these pikes were not going to kill them because it keeps shooting around them when they haven't done anything yet to be a threat to the pikes moving their train, which I will say the train scene is cool for a few parts of it, mainly for the cool fights that we see inside the train, but we don't get to see what's inside the train. We just know that the one of the leaders of the Sand People are just beating the shit out of these pikes like crazy. But the train scene was like to me. It wasn't that intense. It wasn't that interesting. I mean, I expected a few people to die here and there, but I don't know. I felt like the train scene was too similar to the train scene in Solo, where they're trying to steal the coaxium and then trying to rob the train, but then became unsuccessful. It felt like that. Only with this one, it turns out successful in the end, but it was just to me. I was like, it's another train scene that I've seen already in a movie from Star Wars, so it wasn't that interesting. I mean, it would be cool to play in a video game. That would be awesome to do a cool train scene in a Star Wars video game and you're trying to stop it. Oh wait, they did that in Fallen Order, didn't they? Where you were crashing and then you had to like escape. Yeah, that was difficult, especially with the hard difficulty I chose for that game. Holy shit. I forgot about that. Uh yeah. But seeing Boba befriend the Tuskens, befriend them and help them, and then also go into a journey, like his like ritual path to get his own weapon from a tree branch to form his own weapon, which we saw in Mandalorian, was pretty cool. Seeing like a scene of him in Camino, seeing his father pilot the Slave One. I know it's a different name, but to be fair, the name of the new name for the ship is basically just the model of the ship. That's just what they did. They just saw the name of the model of the ship and they're like, yeah, just call it that. I'm just gonna still kind of call it the Slave One, honestly, because it's been so many years hearing that name that there's no way I can unforget it, honestly. Hey, I mean, this new generation of Star Wars fans probably will just call it Fire Spray and not know it's called the Slave One until they find like old Star Wars guidebooks and see that it's called that and like, oh shit. I really did love it. The Tusken Raider part of the show is the most interesting thing. Seeing how he escaped, seeing how he lost his armor, seeing how he learned this new fighting style that he took from the Tusken Raiders, and this new outfit that he's in. It is a pretty interesting backstory to see of how Boba Fett became a new man, basically, and it's pretty cool. I like him. This redemption arc of his that he starts to learn, that is great. I love this redemption arc from him, and hope to see more flashbacks of what he did throughout probably those years in Tatooine. I would like to see him and Fennec in those flashbacks and see how he helped resurrect her, help keep her alive, and see how he convinced to help her. Well, because she owed him a life debt, basically, but get to see the process is what I'm saying. I also did like we saw cameos of like background cameos of a few characters in from the Mandalorian. We got to see that lady that repaired Mando's ship in the first season with her pit droids in the background. I was like, oh hey, there she is, and and we got to see a few like the person setting up the stormtrooper heads on those like spikes that you saw also in Mandalorian, uh, which was pretty cool. I actually did like that. Just seeing like, oh, we're seeing how things worked out before Mandalorian happened because this is during the time when the Empire has fallen, uh, and and went to hiding. And this is a sad thing that I wish didn't happen, but it had to happen eventually. Boba Fett tries to make peace with the Pikes and said like, "Hey, you could make us your protectors this time, and things will be better." But then like the gang leaders, with the ones with the speeder bikes that Boba Fett stole from, uh, they came to the village with the Tusken Raiders and they slaughtered all of them, including the kid, which is painful to see because he basically befriended them. Hell, we're basically a family, and I was like, Jesus, this is depressing. And I felt awful for Boba Fett, and I could see that he wants revenge for both the Pikes and these gangs uh that have took like the people that helped him uh to resolve his ways and be a different person, a different man for good and not for technically evil, which is pretty cool. But sadly, see him lose these people is pretty depressing. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I thought things got better each episode. Though I have a complaint, is like there was a chase scene, and of course these bikers like speeders look like 1950s motorcycle bikes, basically, which is kind of funny and silly, but I love it. It makes me think back to Indiana Jones or what other movie that George Lucas did, American Graffiti. And it's just like, yeah, put 50 shit in this. But there was a problem I had with the scene where it's like, why the hell were people carrying like a painting across the street so conveniently while a car chase scene is happening? It's the same thing with lots of movies. Like someone's carrying a plate of glass or like or just a painting or something that can be destroyed if someone crashed into it. It always happens in movies, and I'm kind of tired of that cliche because it's like you guys are moving this thing at a very inconvenient time, and of course the painting gets destroyed. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold. Oh, episode 4 and 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, or episode 4 of Book of Boba Fett, and episode 1 of basically season 3 of The Mandalorian. That, which feels like it, or in this case, episode 0 in a way. Which, God. That is bad. That is bad that the episode that doesn't have Boba Fett in it is like the most entertaining one out of all of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the fight with. I love the episode where he gets the Rancor. Danny Trejo's there to help him out, which is so rad. I have not seen him yet in another episode. I hope he wasn't just in that one episode. I did like the scenes with the Tusken Raiders and Boba Fett, and they're getting along like kind of like a clan, like a family, and then teaching him their ways. I love that. I do enjoy that. I enjoy Boba Fett as the character, seeing him rule Tatooine with a sign of respect, and he's not trying to rule with fear. He's trying to rule with the people that he is trying to protect, and he's trying to teach them that he doesn't need to show that he's a man to be feared. He wants to show that he's a man that you can rely and trust on, and he will go and return the favor to help you in return as well, which is pretty cool. I like that. But so far the like main story wasn't grabbing me that much. Kind of, I was like a bit meh on it, trying to be like, oh, it's just him trying to stop like this mysterious people that are trying to kill him, but nothing that big or interesting has happened in that story. And the only thing interesting that has happened in the Book of Boba Fett were the flashbacks, basically. I mean, there are cool scenes I like, and I like Boba Fett. But people say that Boba Fett, there are a few people that say he's acting like a coward in this show. I wouldn't say he's a coward. I would say he is, because people are thinking like, oh, he used to be a badass. I still think he's a badass. It's just that this entire show has not showcased him using his abilities to his in his show for like a long time, and the show is like nearly at its conclusion, which really sucks because Boba Fett has only been showing himself doing shit that's cool in like the flashbacks. Okay, he fought the Wookiee, which was pretty damn cool, but he got his ass kicked on that, and Fennec was the one that took the final blow, so that doesn't technically kind of count at all, but it doesn't make him worthless or weak or make him look like he looks terrible. No, I say he's a badass in his own right. It's just that this show is building up to it from what he's learned during his time in the Sarlacc pit with the Tusken Raiders and his days on Tatooine, trying to get what he wants and everything, and I respect that. And episode 4 does a great job of showing how he will help others, and he would know that they will help in return because they know that because he has shown them kindness to people who usually don't. And he did that with Fennec. which Fennec did was like, I will repay you and then I'm gone. But then she started to be like, you know what? I'm in it for the ride. I want to go and see Boba Fett rule with his power and see where it takes me. And it it does help Boba Fett along the way, uh helping him try to take down the Pikes and the Huts, which is really cool. I love that. And I love Fennec and Boba Fett's relationship in the show, and I did love that build up to it and how it started, how he saved Fennec and then helped her come back to life, and then sooner or later help him out on his journey, which is pretty cool. And this, yeah, that episode is actually pretty decent. I loved it. Also, Thundercat makes a cameo appearance as a guy that loves to put mechanical parts on other people's bodies because, you know, it's part of that gang that Boba Fett recruited. So Thundercat's the one that's like making the parts for these people, which is so hilarious. Because when I saw him, I was like, I know that guy from somewhere. And then his name popped up in the credits. I'm like, that's right, Thundercat. I remember him. Oh, as much as I didn't listen to much of his music, I did love the song Dragon Ball Do-Rag. Yes, that's an actual song that he has called Dragon Ball Do-Rag. And it is it is a silly song of, well, it's not a silly song. It's like a more like he is like fat, like wants to be with a girl, and he's like asking her if she would like him with his do-rag or something, if I remember correctly. And the music video was so silly and ridiculous of him just going up to women, and these women felt like they're being stalked. Like, get the fuck away from me with your damn do-rag. And then all of these like and I'm not kidding, all these black women are like, get the fuck away from me. I don't care about your do-rag, and I don't care it's from Dragon Ball. Get the fuck away from me. And then there's one part where he peeks out of the fucking garbage bin and then sees these girls talking, and he's like dancing in front of them, singing the song. And this one white girl is like, yeah, I fuck with that. I got myself sidetracked. When I saw him, I did not expect his voice to be that deep, basically. I was like, okay, that's not the voice I expected to hear from you when I heard that song from you. And I was like, hey, he was pretty cool. He looked cool also, like his appearance in the show. He made an impact. I liked him in there, showing the montage of him trying to save Fennec's life. Pretty cool scene. I even did like the infiltration of Jabba's palace. Now, well, used to be in control of Bib Fortuna, and him trying to get his ship back, the Slave One. I know it's called the Fire Spray now, but keep in mind, the reason why they call it the Fire Spray is because that's the name of the model of the ship. You can tell me otherwise, Disney, that it's a different new name. You replace the name, but I'm still gonna call it the Slave One. My freaking old, outdated Star Wars encyclopedia is gonna prove you wrong when you be like, no, it's the Fire Spray, and I'm gonna pop up that encyclopedia and be like, boom, Slave One, bitch. I'm not gonna stop calling it the Slave One, mainly because it's been ingrained in my memory for so long with the amount of Star Wars knowledge I have that it's not gonna go away. It's just gonna be the Slave One to me. It's weird, it's questionable, and it also had a good funny line in a Robot Chicken skit where Lando's like, love the look of your ship, Boba. Not too crazy about the name, though. Yeah. But episode 4 was just that. It was about Boba and Fennec starting their partnership, and also Boba Fett straight up. Well, he didn't do shit. Fennec actually took like one of those bombs that were used in Attack of the Clones, and if you don't remember the scene where Boba was trying to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi in Attack of the Clones with that cool scene, it was also used it was also used in the Mandalorian season 2. I can't remember what episode he used it in. I think it was the episode when they were trying to infiltrate an Imperial base to get information of where Moff Gideon is. And he used one of those bombs, the ones that goes or something. And he used it, and Fennec pressed one of the buttons to drop that bomb inside the Sarlacc pit, and the Sarlacc pit is now dead. I will say Boba Fett got his revenge, but honestly, Fennec pulled the trigger. So yeah, Boba Fett hasn't done a lot lately, which sucks, but he is still making waves, still making an impact on stopping stopping any Pikes controlling the Outer Rim, and trying to show that he's in charge now, trying to show that he's in control. And as much as like he hasn't done anything in the present day, and he's only done so much in the flashbacks, it does kind of make you feel like, man, I want Boba Fett to do something. I want him to do something cool. I want him to do some fighting, some action. And yeah, it sucks that he's not doing much, but honestly, I'm still okay with it because he's still actually making an impact and trying to help people, and also trying to show that he is more than just a killer, and he is more than just what he says he is. And I like that. But, kind of episode 5 kind of kind of makes Boba Fett like a punk bitch compared to episode 5 of Boba Fett, or in this case, episode 0 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Because that's what the episode was. It wasn't the Book of Boba Fett. Like, it's weird to see that title, Book of Boba Fett, when in reality, it's just The Mandalorian. That's what the episode is. And my God, it's unfair to say this. It's so far the best episode of the season. And it's so unfair because there's no Boba Fett. It's all Mandalorian. It's just Din Djarin just being a badass. Beginning of the episode. What does he say? I could bring you in warm, or I could bring you in cold. Like, hey, already he's beating the shit out of like all these guys and slicing the shit out of them with the dark saber. And it's so cool. God, it's so awesome seeing him being a badass, and also just showing that he means business. Like he is awesome, and him trying to be back with the Creed, be back with the Mandalorian Creed, and all. And it's already feeling like it's Mandalorian season 3 because I feel like this is going to be the plot of the third season, which is Mando uh going and trying to figure out his place with the Mandalorians, because there is different factions of them. One who stands by the Creed, the other who doesn't go by the old religious ways of the Mandalorian code, which that's Bo-Katan's like part of the Mandalorians. Uh, and it is and this episode starts off with him trying to get like, back with the Mandalorians, back with the clan, with the Creed, and trying to claim his place back as a Mandalorian. And, this is the way. But after flashing that he has taken claim of the dark saber, and we also get like a cool backstory of how Bo-Katan lost the dark saber, but also why Bo-Katan failed to save Mandalore and the Mandalorians in general, and what happened when they had to go into hiding, and why their planet was taken over. And there was a thing in Rebels, and I haven't seen that much of Rebels, but I have seen a video talking about why didn't Bo-Katan fought one of the Mandalorians in combat to claim the dark saber. And it shows what happens when you do that. If you take the saber without winning it in combat. Bo-Katan did took the saber to claim rule of Mandalore and become the leader, but she didn't win it in combat, which became what the Mandalorians say a curse if that happens. And she lost everything, and Mandalore lay to ruin, which is an interesting thing to learn about. What happens when you don't win the dark saber in combat, which is pretty fucked up. And then Vizsla, one of the Vizslas, like I forgot his name, something Vizsla, he's there in the secret Mandalorian hideout in this city. And Vizsla realizes like, yeah, that dark saber was made by my ancestors, who was a Jedi, and he laid claim to the Mandalorians, and he is jealous that Din Djarin has the blade, and he wants to fight for it, which he does. But then something really fucked up happens that I was like, wow, I didn't know it was gonna go there, and that's Din Djarin is no longer a Mandalorian. And it's really sad because they talk about like, hey, have you taken off your helmet, Vizsla? And he's like, no, I have not. This is the way. Then she turns to Mando, which the worst thing is he has taken off his helmet before. And I don't know the rules of a Mandalorian. I mean, are there some cases you can take off your helmet? Like, what if you need to shower? Do you need to shower with the helmet on? What if you need to eat? Do you have to, like, fucking, like, put food under the helmet and then just, like, eat food like that? Because I know he took off his helmet in the, third episode of Mandalorian, and he took it off to eat food and no one saw his face. Like, what is the rules? Like, are there certain times you can wear the helmet or not? I feel like that helmet is uncomfortable to sleep with. Like you fall asleep and you're on the bed and you have that fucking helmet on you. Is there some comforting pads in the Mandalorian helmet that you can have when you wear it? I don't know. Oh, what are the standard rules? Because I feel like the one rule is no one should see your face, basically. Like, that's what I feel like is the main rule, that no one should see your face. And if they do see your face, you're fucked. You're no longer a Mandalorian. But he has shown his face. One time, which was unwillingly because the IG unit took it off to heal him. The second time, he did it willingly because he had to like go and show his face in order to get the information about where Moff Gideon is. And then the third time, he did very willingly so Grogu can see his face. So Jin Darin has really fucked up 3 times. But he still won a fight with Vizsla, and he still has claim to the Darksaber, so we're probably going to see more Mandalorians or anyone else that come after that blade and try to win it in combat. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Like, people are going to come after that blade and fight Mandalorian for it. And that seems like something like Afro Samurai. Like, with Afro Samurai, it was like, if you wear the number 1 headband or you wear the number 2 headband, everyone will come after you and fight you for it so they can fight number 1. And everyone who has the number 2 headband will come after number 1 to fight them. And that's what it feels like here. Like, everyone's going to come after him because he has the blade, and they're going to go and try to claim it so they can have control of Mandalore and all the Mandalorians before them as well. Which is a pretty interesting synopsis for season 3, don't you think? Like, season 3 is probably going to be Mando trying to choose sides. Like, which side of Mandalore, or which side of the Mandalorians is he going to choose? Is he going to end his way of being a Mandalorian, or is he gonna choose a side where it doesn't matter if you take off your helmet or not? I mean, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, I don't mind seeing more of Pedro Pascal's face. He is a good looking dude, not gonna lie. And I would like to see more. I would like to see what is going to happen to Mando. But then again, I feel like Din Djarin has already taken over this show, because the next episode is teased that he is going to meet Grogu. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but he had like a thing made for Grogu because he's a foundling and he wants to give him a gift. He wants to give him something, and we don't know what it is. I'm betting it's a necklace. And on this little in the one of the Mandalorians wrap it in a gift for him, and he looks at the gift wrap present he has, and the gift wrapping is shaped like fucking Grogu's head. That I started laughing, thinking, was that intentional? Did you have to make it look like Grogu to just put more salt in the wound that he might not see his friend, his basically his son at this point? again. Like, Jesus. It's so weird. It's not only that, the last half of this episode is him getting a Naboo starfighter, but fully modified and upgraded. And it's really cool seeing him like fly that Naboo starfighter aircraft, because it's like, hey, we we're not going to ignore the prequels. The prequels are canon, so we're not going to ignore them and say that they never happened. We're going to put some prequel shit in here, but we're going to make it cooler than what George Lucas did. And seeing Din Djarin just fucking fly that thing through like a canyon, and it looked like the same place that the pod racing happened in episode 1, and I was like, oh shit, that looks cool. And it's just seeing like seeing him fly that Naboo starfighter was so cool. It reminded me of like Star Wars Rogue Squadron, right? Rogue Squadron. It reminded me of that, where you play the game and you're flying all the different aircrafts in Star Wars, and in the demo one you get to fly the Naboo starfighter, which was pretty fucking cool. And that thing felt awesome when you flew it, and then you were fighting all these droids and destroying all the generators and shit. It takes me back to the good old PS2 and GameCube days when I used to rent those video games in the Blockbuster or Hollywood Video Store. Oh, it's so cool. And seeing him fly it was pretty cool as well. But yeah, he took over this show. It's no longer Boba Fett. At this point, the beginning of this episode, of the next episode, is probably gonna be Mando just going up to Grogu and meeting Luke Skywalker, like, "What's up?" And, and he's probably gonna see what's his name? The guy from Jedi Outcast. What's his name? I forgot his name. It's not damn it. I forgot his name, but he was in Jedi Outcast. He was basically Han Solo if Han Solo was a Jedi. Not Kylo Ren, that's different. Oh god. But it was so cool seeing that again, and also seeing him like nodding at the kid when he's flying his starfighter. The kid he met on the public transportation, he's like, "Hey kid," and then flies away. God, I did not expect the Boba Fett theme song to play. I was waiting for the Mandalorian theme to play. I was expecting da 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 da. I was expecting that because it didn't feel right. Especially, it didn't feel right hearing that Book of Boba Fett theme song and the title cards show up where it's like, "Hey, do 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 do." Like, I wasn't expecting that because I was like, that doesn't feel right. I feel like I should hear the Mandalorian theme and see the title card of the Mandalorian, but it's not. It's freaking the Book of Boba Fett, and it's like, oh right, I'm watching the Boba Fett series, not Mandalorian. But it just feels so wrong hearing that theme song and not hearing the Mandalorian theme, which it feels wrong. I was like, once that episode ended, I was waiting for the Mandalorian theme song, but then the Boba Fett theme song came in, and I was like, oh, right. You forget. It's like a total takeover. It's like a total takeover of freaking Din Jindarin just taking over the show. Like, by the way, I'm hijacking the show now. I'm gonna make Boba Fett look like a pussy compared to me. Which he kinda does. Cause fucking Jindarin does some cool ass shit in this episode more than Boba Fett did. And I'm talking about what he's doing in the now, not in the flashbacks. No, he's badass in the flashbacks. The now, he's just like, I'm standing around looking badass and cool. I'm also giving like inspirational speeches about respect. And I will also ride a rancor. Like, it's just nothing. He's more saying than doing. Which I know it's a lot, and I know what I said, but God, Mandalorian, really? Shindarin really is doing more than fucking Boba Fett at this point. That he completely hijacked the show. Like, it's my show now. It's Mando's time. Oh my god. I freaking love it. I love it. I love it. I do. I love this. It is an interesting episode. Also, humans can date Jawas. That's weird. I didn't know that's a thing. I wonder how good of a relationship is it when dating a Jawa. Like, I wonder how that goes, because that's weird. Also, something I never expected, someone else speaking Jawa, because usually people speak English and talk the Jawa and they understand the Jawa, but seeing a person speak Jawa is pretty weird. And I never thought I would say this, but I don't like it, because it's like, oh, we know what the Jawas are saying, and the Jawas know what we're saying. We will speak in our own language, and the Jawas will speak in their own language. But hearing someone speak Jawa is unnerving. It's weird, because you have to make the noises they make as well. It's weird. So weird. Even more weirder than knowing that people can actually date Jawas, which I have no idea how good of the relationship would that be, because what can a Jawa provide? What can a Jawa do? I mean, yes, he can scavenge shit and be like, yo, I got you a gift. I found this in the desert. But yeah. Mandalorian season 3. It is cool to see Mando back. I did miss the Mandalorian. It's been so long. When did the first season came out? Was it 2019 or 2020? I don't know. All I know is that 2021. I think 2021 had a lack of Star Wars stuff happening. Like, there was a lack of Star Wars content in 2021. And God, seeing the Mandalorian back, seeing Jindarin back, God, it's like seeing an old friend again. And especially it's gonna be awesome seeing Grogu again, which would be great. It's so crazy. I'm just so excited to see these characters fight alongside each other again, and also help Boba Fett, which would be cool. It is, God, I missed Star Wars stuff. I missed so much Star Wars stuff. 2021 had a lack of Star Wars stuff happening. From my memory, I remember there was not that much Star Wars things happening in 2021. But God, I think it's gonna change. It's gonna change with this. It's gonna change with with a lot of the video games that is gonna come out. It's gonna change when a lot more more Star Wars movies comes out. I'm very scared to wonder what Patty Jenkins is gonna do with her Star Wars movie. But who knows? Maybe it'll be a good surprise. I mean, if she says it's gonna be like Top Gun but Star Wars, that sounds pretty cool. Not gonna lie. But who knows? Hopefully there'll be more Star Wars content in the future. But now we just got Boba Fett, which I'm pretty cool with. I'm just hoping for more Mandalorian. We reached a conclusion to this show, and for fuck's sake, why didn't we get more of this Boba Fett action in the entire show? I mean, it was worth it. All that build up, all that hype, everything that they were building up to in each episode, like the joy of seeing him, the talk about this payoff about him riding a Rancor pays off. Even though I'm kind of disappointed, I would have loved to see Danny Trejo talk about with Boba Fett how to ride a Rancor. That would have been cool to see, but we never did. Instead, we got Mandalorian Season 3 or Season 2.5 at that point, with the last 2 episodes that we had before the finale. And even though I like those episodes, it does stray away from Boba Fett. So, salutations everyone, I'm Nirvi Koshi, and this is the finale of Book of Boba Fett. And I actually did enjoy this. I love this. Is the show perfect? It could have been worked around better in so many ways. Like, hell, I would have loved to see Boba Fett train how to ride a Rancor. That would have been awesome, but they didn't do that, which I was wondering why. I feel like you could have squeezed that shit in there. Hell, if they could have squeezed that shit in with the episode that was fully Mandalorian focused, they could have began it with him training with Danny Trejo to ride the Rancor, and it would have been awesome, but they didn't do that. They could have. Everything about this show has a lot of problems. Mainly the problems stem from this was a show where they talked too big, saying, yeah, we're making a Boba Fett TV show. It's going to be awesome. And the problem with that stems with them taking a cool idea, but they are like, they're like really like they are just confused at what to do. Not confused. They just started realizing, fuck, we don't have any ideas. And they had like what, 2 years, maybe a year tops to figure out how to work out the first season of Boba Fett. Hell, they had an entire pandemic to fucking go and realize, yeah, we should totally figure out how we're gonna do this Book of Boba Fett show. And they kind of did, but everything about it fell through, sadly. But it is cool to see a lot of things about this show. I mean, seeing Boba Fett finally in action, seeing him back, seeing him with a bunch of Tusken Raiders. And I know a friend pointed out to me that it seems wrong to be sympathizing with Tusken Raiders after all the bullshit they did. almost killing Luke Skywalker, trying to kill the people in the pod race, Anakin's mother being killed by the Tusken Raiders. Tusken Raiders done a lot of bad shit. Though I kind of view it as like, oh, this is a different tribe of Tusken Raiders that have different beliefs, I guess. At least that's how I take it, or, because since they don't look like the typical Tusken Raiders you see in the desert, they're dressed differently, they have more darker clothing and bolder colors, I guess, but it's, I don't know. And yeah, it is very uncomfortable knowing that, yeah, Boba Fett's being taught by psychotic murderers that live in the desert. But Mandalorian has taught us that they can be negotiated if you know their type of sign language. Like that's what you gotta know. And Mando does know. Din Djarin knows that. That's that. And yeah, it is uncomfortable, but honestly, I thought it was still cool either way, knowing that the Tuskens do have their beliefs and stories. I know a movie that's done the same thing about like, oh, these are brutal, murderous killers, but then you see like they have no choice in killing, or like that's how they believe in because they see the people that come around in their land, their desert, they see them as a threat. Like they see a different perspective than anyone else does. And again, tortured the mother. Yikes. That's still a area where you're gonna be like, I don't know. Oh, but still, it is cool to see Boba Fett with the Tusken Raiders and learning their ways, and him becoming more of a different character. But then we get actual good character development that Cad Bane does. And yes, Cad Bane is in the show now. He makes his first live action appearance. So, sorry everybody, that scene from the unreleased or unfinished Clone Wars episode where Boba kills him when he was still young isn't canon anymore. That means the dent on his helmet from that unreleased episode no longer canon. We don't even fucking know where that dent came from now. Oh, it's a mystery already about this. Maybe we'll get a flashback, and maybe we will get a different take on that unreleased episode. But they had to hire an actor that looks like the young Boba Fett. I mean, they can't cast that kid anymore from Attack of the Clones. He's too old. Hell, he already made his reappearance as that character in the show. Yeah, he did. Not kidding. He actually did. Came back and reprised his character. I mean, he does sound a bit older, but hey, it was cool to see him back in the role as Boba Fett and voice acting him in the Clone Wars series. He just can't do it now. So whoever they'll get for like a live action version of that episode, which I would love to see, maybe the whole dent on his helmet will actually still be canon, but it will try to show us, hey, how did Cad Bane lived, or how did Cad Bane survive, or did he escape, or any other way. Hey, I say there is a lot of things about the final episode that actually gives good character development with Boba Fett, and that is him making the realization maybe he wasn't cut out to be a crime lord and protecting the city of Mos Espa. Like, he starts to have that realization, I have reached my goal. I said what I wanted to do and set out to do to go and help these people, and now I'm having second thoughts. Like, that's what it felt like. He's starting to have second thoughts about it. He's starting to realize maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Maybe I am not. And there's also that other character development that I liked in this episode. And yes, if you didn't notice from the beginning, I'm doing spoilers. This has been, I mean, seriously, I have spent a month recording these reviews of this whole entire series. Hell, this is gonna be like the raw and cut footage of me just talking about this show. But yeah, it is. There is that one scene, and it's with Cad Bane. He's fighting off with Cad Bane, a dude that he probably looked up to as a mentor, along with Aura Singh, when he was trying to get revenge on Mace Windu for the death of his father. And it sees him going, knowing that he knows what Cad Bane is. He knows what he does when he hanged out with Aura Singh and Cad Bane. Boba Fett saw like brutal, murderous killers, and he wasn't siding with that. I mean, yes, he becomes one himself, but it's like he has a more honorable system of realizing he's not like his father that much. Which I really thought we were going to see more development and character of that. I would have loved to see a flashback of him talking to his father, Django, because there was that scene of him piloting the Slave One, and there's young Boba seeing him drive away, fly off out of Camino, and probably doing another job, possibly. I mean, I'm not saying Django was probably a heartless bastard. I mean, hell, he wanted a son. He wanted someone that he wanted someone that he would call his own kid, and he wanted that. He asked. That was like his like uh offer to the Kaminoans, like, hey, Boba, I mean, hey, Django, do I want? Can we clone you and make an entire army of ruthless killers like yourself? And his only request was, I want a clone that ages slower than them because he wants a son, basically. Okay, so maybe Django wasn't much of a bad person as well. But there is that little thing that Cad Bane says, where it's like, you're just a cold-blooded killer too, Boba. And then Boba has that realization after he kills Cad Bane, which finally, like, it took Tusken Raider martial arts to kill Cad Bane. Like, Jesus. To kill him. And it is awesome that Boba Fett is the one to kill him. But it is like something interesting to wonder. Is Boba Fett trying not to be his dad? Like, is he trying to suppress something about him that he was trained to do, and that was to kill? Just like the clone troopers, they were trained to kill. And that's all they were bred to do. Be soldiers, kill the droids, and have nothing stand in their way. And that's it. That's the point of it. And it is like a weird turn of events, wondering where Boba has this shot, this uncomfortably long shot of him trying to make the realization after he killed Cad Bane. Am I just a killer? Like, am I really avoiding what I was born to do? Just like my father and just like the clone troopers I was with. Like, that was the main thing he was thinking about. And I like that. I wish there was more of that in that show, where Boba Fett has a conflicting point of him, thinking some part of him probably wants to go out and get revenge and kill Han Solo or any other one that went against him. And there is something about him that wants that revenge back. He's trying to suppress it out of his head, but he knows that maybe I should do this. Maybe I should go out and try to be a better person. But then that part of him, that part of his brain is like telling him, you're trying to kill, you gotta murder, you gotta kill, you gotta be a bounty hunter and kill people. Like, that probably is a conflicting thing that must have been hitting him. And I kind of want to know what is gonna happen with that. If they ever gonna explore more about Boba Fett wondering, has he made the right decision or not? And yes, it's a positive ending, which is okay enough for me. That the things just became positive, but then again, it just ends like nothing big happens at the end. The climax happens, the fight scene happens, and then the show just ends on a Mandalorian shot. And wow. I'm not kidding, just wow. Grogu really what Grogu didn't leave that long. You would think that big, sad, depressing scene in season 2 where Mando has to say goodbye to Grogu so he can become a Jedi, and you would think like, oh wow, season 3 is gonna be depressing about him coming to grips not being with Grogu again, and then Disney was probably thinking, what, take that adorableness that is ranking in views for us for Mandalorian? Hell no! We ain't letting this motherfucker go. That's probably what Disney said. Because episode 6, yeah, episode 6 was the episode that is still more Mandalorian season 2.5. It's Din Djarin going to the planet to meet Grogu to give him a gift. And his gift that he was going to give to Grogu was Beskar chainmail, basically. And this made me hate Luke Skywalker a lot. Because fuck him in this episode. But I feel like it was cool to see Ahsoka next to Luke Skywalker. Also, I do love Ahsoka saying like, "Oh, I'm a friend of the family," which is true because let's be honest, Ahsoka knew that Anakin and Padme were a thing. She already knew that they were together. She already knew about Anakin and Padme already as a couple. And let's be honest, she knew. Like, of course she was a friend of the family. I bet because she is close to both Anakin and Padme, actually, because she did protect Padme from Aura Singh because she started having premonitions that Aura Singh would kill Padme. And she has been close to Padme. And she also was like an Jedi escort for her when she had to go to separatist controlled planets because one of her friends is there, and she was trying to get both parties to see eye to eye and try to bring peace, but you know, the dark side's like, fuck that. Like, there's a lot of things. She is close to family, and seeing Luke Skywalker acting the way he is, Ahsoka sees a bit of his father in him. Like, that's what she sees. She sees a bit of Anakin in Luke, and and I did like this little small conversation between Luke and Ahsoka, and I wish there was more of it. I wish there was at least a bigger conversation. But, you know, Ahsoka was only there for one reason. Just like, hey, guys, I'm reminding you, I have my own TV show coming soon. Just giving you a heads up. I'm still here. That's all she was in there for. And I did like Luke training Grogu, helping him out, and also Ahsoka giving Din Djarin a lesson about, like, are you really seeing Grogu for you, or are you seeing him for just him? And are you sure you're doing what's right for him, or are you doing what's right for you? And it does beg that question where Din Djarin's like, you're probably right, I'm probably being greedy, wanting to see him. And he has to learn that lesson, knowing that if he does see me, he's gonna be depressed and sad, and it's gonna be harder for him to let go of him, or it's gonna be hard for him to train with Luke. And he realizes that, like, yeah, I should let him be and live his own life, which he does. He doesn't go see Grogu, and that's all he did. And then Luke trains him, And then Luke makes the douchiest decision ever in this show, in this episode, where he's like telling Grogu, yes, I have trained you to do cool, sick force backflips like we used to do in the prequels. I have trained you to use the force and balance and learning about the life that surrounds us and everything. It's definitely not metachlorians. Fuck that shit. I don't know what the Jedi were smoking back then, but it's definitely not metachlorians. But the next day, while they're building this Jedi temple, while they're building this new school for young Padawans, which I'm very curious to wonder if this is the same school that Kylo Ren destroyed and killed so many Padawans in a temple. I'm curious to wonder if it's the same place, because if it is, I can say Grogu probably dodged a bullet, because Grogu had to make a hard choice, and that was be a Jedi or return to the Mandalorian. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Luke was a dick doing this. Like, does he really have to choose? Like, why can't he just be both Jedi and Mandalorian? I mean, it's been done before. Like, it's really messed up of a choice. And that choice is that he's telling him, hey, I got Master Yoda's lightsaber right here, and you can be the next owner of this cool lightsaber. Or your father came here with Beskar chainmail that he gifted and had it made for you. And yeah, you can have this, but you can only choose one, because you gotta let go of all attachment, young Grogu. Even though you're 50 years older than me. But you gotta choose your daddy or the Force. Because it was the douchiest thing he's said. But Luke made a good point with what he said to Grogu. What seems like a lifetime for you is shorter for someone else. And Luke is not wrong. Mando doesn't. Din Djarin ages normally. He doesn't live long like whatever race Yoda is. Seriously, there's no name for his species. It's weird. And it's like a big decision, like Grogu. Look, even I wouldn't. It's like Luke is also saying, even I can train you, but you would live longer than me. Because he's basically giving him that choice, but he's warning him, like, I know you care about Din Djarin, but look, he's gonna die. He's gonna be the first one to die, and you're gonna be left alone. That's basically what he's saying. Because Grogu has probably seen so many people come and go in his life when he was a 50-year-old looking baby. And he must have had that problem, just attachment. Like, he just cares about Din Djarin and all he's done for him and cared for him. And it is like very like just like hard to accept that, or knowing like, yeah, he's gonna die one day and Grogu is gonna be still living. But if if he becomes a Mandalorian, he'll be the oldest Mandalorian ever. Then again, how's his ears gonna fit in the helmet? I mean, he's got pointy ears. I don't think that's gonna fit a helmet. They gotta make Yoda-sized Mandalorian armor when he's because believe me, fucking fucking Yoda species don't grow bigger. They're still small. They'll get a bit bigger, yes, but they're still small. Oh, and I did like what Luke said. Yes, it's gonna be difficult because there might be a day where Grogu will never see Din Djarin again because he will probably be an old man, and Grogu would probably be in his stages as a toddler or a little kid, maybe a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old at best. When Mando probably reaches 90. But Grogu chose Din Djarin over the Jedi Order. Can I blame him for that? Not really. I mean, hell, you just met this Skywalker dude like only a few days. I mean, you knew fucking Mando for more time than you did with frickin' Luke Skywalker, right? Which is understandable, but still a dick choice because you would think Luke would have been more lenient on attachment because the problem with the Jedi Order is that they were still learning the old ways of what the Jedi must do, like let go of all attachment and all that. Where Yoda realized, yeah, I fucked up because I realized the old ways really fucked up a Jedi that shouldn't be ashamed of falling in love with someone. I mean, even with Obi-Wan, you saw that pain as well because he was in love with what's her name, Duchess Satine, Bo-Katan's sister. He was in love with Satine, and he let go of that attachment, that love he had for Satine to be with the Jedi Order. But Obi-Wan does have that regret, feeling like he should have been with her. Hell, I feel like Qui-Gon was was all for it, saying like, yeah, Obi-Wan, you could totally be with her. The Jedi Order didn't have to stick up its ass all the time. Like it could have worked out, like the pain, and then you see Obi-Wan's pain when Satine died, and it is that sad thing that they lose attachment. Like that's what you gotta do when you're in the Jedi Order, but maybe attachment's not all that bad because hell, fucking Darth Vader killed the Emperor after seeing his one son, like his kid right there being killed in front of him, realizing mistakes he's made in the past, realizing he wants to make up for all this bad shit he's done. So he had to bring balance to the Force, do what he did as being the chosen one, and kill the Emperor until fucking Rise of Skywalker fucks that up. And it is. And I loved everything about that scene. Like, it shows that attachment isn't all that bad. Like, it's fine to be with loved ones, be with family, and not be like always like stuck in the past of what the old ways of the Jedi know about. But it looks like Luke is doing that, which Luke shouldn't. Like, Luke shouldn't have that problem. Shouldn't have that problem at all. Like, he had his emotions like a bunch of times say things to him. Like, even though he trained with Master Yoda in Return of the Jedi, no, he still had his emotions raging on his father on a lot of things. Like, he was still too young and naive, kind of. And you would think that it would be right. It's like, hey, it's cool to be in love with someone. I mean, hell, I don't know if it's still canon, but hey, didn't Luke Skywalker had a relationship with another Jedi called, what's her name? Oh yeah, Mara Jade. Is Mara Jade still canon? I kind of feel like she isn't anymore because I don't see any kids that Luke Skywalker had when he was an old ass hermit in Last Jedi. Hey, maybe Mara Jade isn't canon, which fucking sucks because I like Mara Jade. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why Luke would just stick with the old ways of the Jedi when he could easily been like, you know what? You can be a Jedi and you can be with your daddy. Like, come on, it would have worked. But I guess Luke had to bring that conflict and choice to Grogu, which is pretty fucked up. If you ask me, it is cool. Like, Boba Fett has done a lot. It could have been better. I say it could have been better paced. And I know there are people saying, like, why couldn't he just go out for revenge on the people that hurt him and killed him? Why doesn't he do that? And yes, that's true. I can see people's point of view thinking they have fucked up a character like Boba Fett and they expected a cooler, badass, and ruthless killer for Boba Fett instead of him just being like, I'm walking and talking, talking and walking, and negotiating. I said I'm going to do this, but I don't do this until the final episode kind of thing. I get it. I see people's problem with the show and then it derailing into a Mandalorian third season for 2 episodes straight and a little bit on the final episode as well. But I don't know. I see things differently on this. Maybe it's because I see Boba Fett, the character from the Clone Wars series, the one that was like feeling like he's not born to be a trained killer, the one that feels like he doesn't think he could kill people until he got older and something pushed him to the edge to become the ruthless killer his father was before him. And it is something to think of a man that thinks like, maybe I can be better than this. Maybe I should put my skills in better use than using them on people that hire me for money to do so. And Cad Bane was the perfect foil, the perfect like look back at Boba's past of getting money to gain money from just killing people and being hired to do whatever job he wants to do because he doesn't give a shit. As long as he gets paid, it doesn't matter to Cad Bane. Kind of like how Boba Fett probably was in the past of his actions of when he got hired. And now it's different. And I really wish there was more of Cad Bane. Like, we got more, like it alluded that he was there in the shadows in the background and he would have been like teased a bit more, or like a guy in a fucking hat and you're wondering who is that and you're starting to suspect, is it Cad Bane? Is it Cad Bane? It has to be. Look at that hat, and they cover his face all the time. And then you give that reveal when he goes to Freetown to meet with the Marshal. I honestly wanted more Cad Bane. If he was in it more, it would have been good. I would have loved to see it. I'm glad that Corey Burton was back, returning the role as Cad Bane. And I do agree with people. He looks odd. He really does. He doesn't look right. His head is a bit smaller. His hat's a bit small too, for my liking. He's not that very darkish blue like he was in the show. He looks very washed out, but maybe that's because it's old age coming in for Cad Bane. Who knows? I did like seeing him in the show. I did like seeing there was a lot of him in the last episode. I did like how badass he looked with his fucking like guns and being such a cowboy as well. I thought it was pretty rad seeing him there. And seeing him killed after trying to prove a point like he won that you are a killer, Boba Fett. I knew it. And seeing Boba Fett kind of question it and wondering it is kind of a big deal because it's like wondering, is he just putting on a disguise of himself, thinking he can be a good person, but realizing he's still that cold-blooded killer he was when he was a bounty hunter? It is very interesting of a character arc that we wish we got more of in the show, that it could have expanded more upon, but we didn't get that, sadly. And seeing Cad Bane die, I mean, I'm not pissed off. I mean, it would have been cool to see more Cad Bane in live action, like he lives, he survives, and then Boba Fett will kill him another day. But it is pretty cool to see him get killed because it's been very much, oh, so many years since Cad Bane was seen. I mean, yeah, I know he's in Bad Batch, but I'm like saying, like, we never knew how Cad Bane died. And yes, we got that unreleased episode, but honestly, we wanted to see that episode become real and actually happen, which it never did. And seeing Cad Bane return, seeing Cad Bane being the badass he is, like seeing that in like both Clone Wars or Bad Batch or here in the Book of Boba Fett, it's really cool to see him be that badass that we remember. Nothing has changed of Cad Bane. And seeing him getting killed is a fitting conclusion. I just wish there was more of a bigger, I don't know, build up towards it in the show. Like, I feel like he could have been in an episode earlier of the build up. I feel like this show would have benefited if it had more episodes. Like, I say about one more episode, like a perfect 9. Like, if this show was 9 episodes long and it developed more, like episode 8 was a flashback into the past with Cad Bane and young Boba Fett, and then it shifts into Cad Bane. I know people are tired of the flashbacks, but that is a flashback you want to see, right? Don't you want to see that where Boba Fett sees Cad Bane again for the first time in years, and then all of a sudden he gets flashbacks of times where he was with Cad Bane when he was a young boy? It would have been pretty cool to see. Like, I feel like the show could have gone for one more episode, like a perfect 9 episodes, and show the flashback of how did Boba Fett probably got the dent on his helmet, and probably how Cad Bane probably escaped him before Boba Fett could actually kill him. It would have been interesting, but we never get that. And it's depressing, it's sad, it makes me wonder, damn it, this show could have been developed better. And it could have. You may have a badass soundtrack and a badass theme song for Boba Fett. You may have a cool setting for this show that could have been amazing to do, but it could have been so much more, and it could have been so much better. Mandalorian didn't need to ride the high of fan service and say, look, that character's there for its first season. Its first season knew what to do. Focus on Din Djarin and his backstory, and also him protecting little Grogu, who is basically your moneymaker for your show for people to continue watching. Sure, Mandalorian had some flaws with its first season. It had episodes that were meh, it had episodes that were good, but it was but it was still trying to find its footing on what people liked about The Mandalorian. And yes, Season 2 had the fan service. It had Lady Bo-Katan. It had Ahsoka Tano. It had Luke Skywalker. Of course it had that. And the dark saber to boot as well. But it's fine. they don't let it be a problem. They don't let it be something that's going to be like glossing over Din Djarin, because nothing did. It was still Din Djarin's show. It was still Mando's show. It was still his. He still took center stage, and the guest characters stayed as guest characters. While in Book of Boba Fett, Din Djarin takes over 2 episodes, as well as Grogu, Ahsoka, and fucking Luke Skywalker. Hell, even the Marshall and Cad Bane take over. And Boba Fett is left in the background and only getting 1 minute of screen time. That's your problem there, that you made those guest characters in the last few episodes the main focus. When you could have done more with Boba Fett, could have actually did a cool backstory flashback of Cad Bane and Boba Fett together. I know we have the Clone Wars series, but at least we should have gotten an episode about what happened the last time Boba Fett and Cad Bane met. Like, it could have been something cool to see. A live action version of the episode we never got in Clone Wars. That would have been fucking amazing. But we didn't get that. We didn't get that at all. And you know what they could have? Dave Filoni could have directed it, but we didn't get it. It is that problem. Book of Boba Fett has that problem where its pacing could have been better. They should have went back on their scripts and were thinking maybe we should do something differently to make Boba Fett a center focus and not make him a side character, but also make sense of his way of turning into a different path in his life and why he is not seeking revenge on the ones. Hell, I don't care if Harrison Ford didn't want to do Han Solo again. You could have just gotten that actor from the movie Solo, and you could have had him there, and Boba Fett thinking, I should get revenge, and then him flying the Slave One to get revenge, but then he realizes it's not right. He sees Han Solo, he's right there in his grabs, he wants to kill him, but then he realizes it's all in his rage, and he's like realizing, not his fault. Like, he doesn't want to kill the man. Like, it could have shown a scene where Leia was probably pregnant, right? Or she already had, like, Kylo or, Ben Solo, and they have a baby, and Boba Fett would have been like, oh shit, he has a kid now. And he just takes the realization he should stop and just let go of his revenge on Han Solo and let him live his life, basically, which is good. I would love that if that happened, right? That would have been interesting. That would have been cool. There is so many things you could have done with season 1 of Book of Boba Fett that could have worked a way to make people not question a lot of things. And maybe they didn't thought of it, but hell, they, again, as I said, they had a whole pandemic in 2021 to figure out how they're going to do this show. They had a whole day. They had a whole year. They had a whole 2019 as well. They could have done something to be like, yeah, we should have done something better about this, but no, they didn't. It's... Book of Boba Fett, for me, gets a solid 6. Just a 6. 6 out of 10 for me. Could have been better, but it still does good. I mean, it is nothing but hype for Mandalorian Season 3. And it really is. It's nothing but hype for Mandalorian Season 3, which is not bad. I did like the character development with Din Djarin and Grogu coming back, which is pretty cool. But the problem is with me is that it's a good question to wonder about this because there is a lot of things to wonder. Like, there's a lot of setup. Like, he's no longer a Mandalorian, so what is Din Djarin going to do? He can't just continuously say he's a Mandalorian, and then the Mandalorians would look at him like, the fuck you ain't? You're not a Mandalorian anymore. No, bitch, you ain't. We all got the message. But I really am curious to wonder what season 3 is gonna bring. Is he actually gonna go to Mandalore and find those waters that they were talking about and try to bathe in them so he becomes a Mandalorian again? Uh, is Vizsla gonna come and keep going after Mando to reclaim his birthright of holding the dark saber like the other Vizslas before him? Uh, the whole thing with Luke about with like Grogu, like is Grogu gonna start finding the realization that he probably isn't right to be with Mando because he realizes his life isn't gonna, because he knows that Din Djarin's not gonna live long as he does. It is very curious to wonder what questions, what ways are gonna be in season 3 of Mandalorian and what they're gonna do with it. And that's the worst part because that's me talking about, oh, I wonder what's going to happen in season 3, not thinking, oh, what are they going to do for the next season of Book of Boba Fett? See, there's a problem there. There's a problem there, but then again, I'm still asking questions if they're going to explore more about Boba's history and wonder if Boba Fett is still having doubts, thinking it was a bad idea being a crime lord, like he was Robert Redford in the Candidate or whatever that movie was where he's trying to be a president, and then realizing I made all these promises, I promised to be a change for the people, and then now that I got elected, it's like, oh shit, what now? I just realized I talked a big talk and now I'm like, fuck, I just realized I don't think I could do those things that dude promised. Yeah, that could be. That could happen. Like, that could happen. Just think about it. That could happen. So many things that could happen in this. But anyway, yeah. Book of Boba Fett could have been better, but honestly, I had a good time with the show. I thought it was okay. Hopefully, if they do make a second season, things could be better. Who knows? There is questions to be answered about it that I've already asked. But also, is that female Tusken Raider still alive? She could be. Who knows? Anyway, thanks you guys for listening in and about me ranting about all this bullshit. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao, darlings, and remember, this is the way.